This is Frontline on Air. Major stories on the go.
Lights, camera, litigation. Hema Committee Report spotlights Malayalam cinema's gender battleground. The precarity of women and other marginalized communities in Malayalam cinema reflects Kerala's hierarchical, feudal and patriarchal society. Aparna Ishwaran, Shilpa Satish, Aarti PM.
Voice by Rakesh Sharma, Timber Media.
In recent weeks, patriarchal norms and male dominance in Malayalam cinema have come under scrutiny following the release of the redacted version of the Justice Hema Committee Report. This report, commissioned by the Kerala government, has highlighted the various challenges faced by women in the Malayalam film industry. The committee came into being thanks to the persistent efforts of the Women in Cinema Collective, WCC, a group established in 2017 to address gender inequality and precarious working conditions in Malayalam cinema. The report's findings mark a significant moment for the ongoing struggle for gender equity in the industry. The Hema Committee submitted its 290-page report to the government on December 31st, 2019. This was followed by a long period of silence and inaction from the government. Finally, on July 5, 2024, the State Information Commission directed the state government to release the report after excluding confidential and controversial parts of the report. There are many arguments for and against making the report public in its entirety, and it is an ongoing legal battle before the High Court of Kerala. The Hema Committee has identified 30 categories of women workers in cinema and has come up with elaborate suggestions and recommendations to ensure gender justice in the Malayalam film industry. The committee has suggested compulsory written contracts at the start of work with clarity on remuneration, working schedules, and workplace facilities and accommodation. This is achievable in its true spirit only with legal literacy among women across categories of workers. The report has also recommended mainstreaming gender justice in the content of the films to enhance visibility of women and girls on screen, refiguring characterization of women occupying power positions, conducting gender awareness training programs for different categories of workers in the film industry, redefining masculinity and femininity, issuing certificates on gender justice, and providing various forms of incentives to films wherein 30% of women are engaged in production activities. Kerala Cine Employers and Employees Regulation Act. Although the recommendations could have a knock-on effect on other sectors, the Hema Committee has specifically suggested new legislation covering the film industry. The Kerala Cine Employers and Employees Regulation Act. It has also suggested more favourable service and salary conditions, enhancing women's participation in all sectors, offering incentives and scholarships to improve the participation of women technical workers, and extending maternal, childcare, and disability care provisions. A close analysis of the Hema Committee report and the empirical evidence gathered as part of the study, titled Malayalam Film Industry as a Gendered Workspace, Understanding Issues, Interventions and Policies, School of Gender Studies, Mahatma Gandhi University, Kerala, in collaboration with the Kerala Women's Commission, leads to several questions and concerns. It is important to understand the precarity of women and other marginalized communities not as an aberration, but as a feature stemming from the very structure and organization of production within the Malayalam film industry. The constant run to resecure work that is project-based and with limited tenure or shelf life renders the status of workers disposable or easily replaceable. This curbs the structural power of workers to fight against and challenge the system, as the noisemakers routinely get replaced with compliant ones who work towards guarding the fortress of power. One of the artists, who is also a casting director, told us, quote, "When we stand for justice and fairness, it negatively impacts our opportunities in cinema." Unquote. Not to mention how expressing dissent becomes harder for workers at the lower rungs of the industry. Entry into the film industry is mediated through an ambivalent process involving intermediaries, particularly in the form of production controllers and informal networks that identify and screen candidates to be considered for recruitment. Additionally, the abstruse nature of the process enables the perpetrators to normalize and legitimize the negotiation for adjustments, compromise, or casting couch, mask terms for sexual violence, in exchange for opportunities to work. The Hema Committee Report mentions how the film industry is unique in seeking sexual favors before the actual entry of the worker into the workplace, complicating the legal categories of employer, employee, and workplace in the Sexual Harassment of Women at Workplace Prevention, Prohibition and Redressal Act 2013, also known as the POSH Act. In Women in Cinema Collective vs. State of Kerala, WP number 33994 of 2018, in March 2022, the High Court of Kerala made an appeal to various organizations of the Malayalam film industry to form a joint committee to redress the grievances of women artists and employees regarding sexual harassment at the workplace. Of late, many Malayalam film shooting locations have constituted Internal Complaints Committee, ICCs, as mandated by the POSH Act. In our study, a director, who is also one of the founding members of the WCC, said, quote, "The Internal Complaint Committee is a sham in a feudal working atmosphere where most of the perpetrators who are dominant in a shooting location become part of the ICC. We need an external grievance redressal mechanism to address workplace sexual harassment. All these efforts are like installing an air conditioner without having electricity." Unquote. The lack of transparency in the hiring process insulates the film industry from any or all pressing questions surrounding due process, equal remuneration, discrimination, and workplace harassment. What is more, those who dare to complain about this faulty process will face the fury of the system while trying to re-enter the labour market. As an associate director who was one of the respondents in our study pointed out, quote, "As part of the democratization of cinema, it moved out of the studio system. Paradoxically, it turned out to be more feudal, and nepotism in cinema became the new normal. In such a workplace, to whom do you complain about unequal treatment?" Unquote. Absence of safe spaces. The unstructured, hierarchical, feudal, and patriarchal nature of the industry and the gender violence it perpetuates are reflected in abysmal working conditions, like the lack of safe changing rooms, toilets, and accommodation for women in their workplace. A cine worker highlighted how spaces of stay are often used as sites of such exploitation. She said, quote, "Some hotels are reserved for junior artists, where a sort of commodification of these workers happens. And among these workers, some with marketable aesthetics will be handled by production controllers. This used to be the practice, where the need to find work made these junior artists vulnerable to be exploited and forced to do sex work." Unquote. Another cine worker added, quote, "There won't be many workplaces like these that function absolutely in performing hierarchies. Even the food they serve in shooting locations reiterates hierarchies. In the shooting location of a multi-crore production, they bring a minimal number of chairs. The rest of the workers work the entire day without sitting for a moment. What kind of mindset is this? Feudal to the core." Unquote. The standards of professionalism are also different based on the kind of labour, class position, and the gender of the worker. The women in our study constantly talked of professionalism and the ways by which they prove or assert their professionalism. One way was by proving their capability for hard physical labour and by emphasizing that they did not need consideration based on female exceptionalism. This is directly linked to the precarity of work opportunities available. But this professionalism, as corroborated by the Hema Committee Report, rests on the denial of the basic rights of the women workers. The women talked of not drinking water for long hours to avoid using toilets and working with inadequate facilities while menstruating. Similarly, certain areas of work in cinema involve a level of intimacy where the perpetrator of violence remains an unavoidable presence in the workplace. Examples abound, some featured in the report itself, of women cine workers who had to share intimate working space immediately after the assault. Women turned up for work because of their ethic of professionalism and despite abysmal working conditions and sexual harassment that denied them their personhood. As a director and long-time associate director admitted, quote, "Cinema is a unique field of work. it is art too, where your medium of work is your body. Hence, in a way, you are selling your body. Hence, here, chances of harassment is high compared to other workplaces." Unquote. Myth of the male superstar. It is this work of professionalism with unaccounted emotional labour that contributed to the success of films and the establishment of male superstars. The myth of male stardom, constructed on market value and the satellite rights that their movies command, is systematically built on the devaluation of women's labour and creativity, as rightly emphasised in the Hema Committee Report. A pioneering woman cineworker from Malayalam cinema reminded us, quote, "Prominent male actors are part of the business. They share the profit. That's why I'm telling you, there is a problem with the basic design of the film industry. It systematically excludes women." Unquote. Another artist elaborated, quote, "Production is business too. Who determines not to pay equally for the equal work male and female artists do? If the payment is based on the revenue generated by an artist, then the question is it a solo performance or collective art which determines its value? If I demand more remuneration, I might end up losing opportunities. I lost some of my favourite roles due to the remuneration I asked for, which is high by their standards. It happens with many women artists in their career." Unquote. The report points to the necessity of prior consent of the performer for shooting intimate scenes, to which we add the necessity of providing information on legal experts, mental health counsellors, and the mandatory hiring of an intimacy coach on cinema sets. As the benevolence of patriarchy does not shine equally on all men, the men who work as assistant directors, ADs, light boys, and junior artists suffer the burden of unpaid extra labour and inhumane working hours, along with their women colleagues. As one of the cineworkers pointed out, quote, "AD work is not paid in many cases and is still considered as a learning experience for the newcomers. In most cases, they have to take financial support from their families for sustenance." Unquote. Unpaid or underpaid physical, emotional, and creative labour is extracted under the guise of mentorship. These are the narratives of exploitation that the not all men discourse should be listening to. The Hema Committee Report has powerfully shown how a handful of male superstar actors and directors, combined with the excessive power enjoyed by production controllers and producers, act as a power group or mafia or lobby that determines the opportunities and the nature of the workplace. While the fandom enjoyed by powerful men ensures that their abusive behavior is tolerated as idiosyncrasies and the hallmarks of a male genius, it is way more intolerant of dissenting women. Illegal banning, loss of opportunities, and cyberbullying led by fan associations result in most women keeping silent about the truth of their experiences. There is a kind of sensationalism attached to the film industry which transforms into unwelcome voyeurism in the case of women in cinema. Cyber abuse through morphed images, reports of sexual abuse circulated as salacious gossip, and rumours of men threatening to release images of sexual violence, termed innocuously as souvenirs, all point to the ingrained sexism of the film industry. In contrast, the women complainant of harassment and abuse is alienated within the film industry, banned from work, and invisibilized. Women have broken their silence to be freed from the myopic, voyeuristic vision prisons that frame their contributions and experiences in the film industry. They're demanding recognition of their work and the violence they face as cineworkers. We're reminded of the 2018 WCC press conference, a watershed movement in the feminist labour history of Kerala, where the women forefronted themselves on the basis of their work. By introducing themselves on the basis of their filmography and the work they had done in the film industry, their identity as cineworkers was centred as they stated their demand, that of justice for the survivor of sexual harassment. This was also a defining moment as the dissenting women collectively set themselves apart from the institutional leadership of the Association of Malayalam Movie Artists, AMMA, which was trying to frame the WCC as an act of rebellion against the family. On the other hand, while putting the state and AMMA at the centre of its charge, the women in the WCC were not only seeking justice, which was denied, but also a broader understanding of it. The audience addressed was not just an amorphous Malayali public, but a community formed through the shared experience of violence. In an act of solidarity, countless women recognized the violence that another woman was raising her voice against. A body of knowledge featuring hurt, trauma, and violence spanning generations. This voice has been built on collective rage from years of erasure, adding on to singular voices scattered across time, drawing on the silence of countless women in Malayalam cinema who were gagged by threats, expanding on acts of courage in a lineage starting from P.K. Rosie onwards. The collective here is in opposition to the institution. It is what makes it possible to refigure and, if needed, dismantle oppressive structures and the system. Transformation of victim to survivor. When the victim spoke of the violence she had experienced, she was shamed, her credibility was questioned, and she was illegally banned from the workplace. It is here that the collective made her transformation to survivor possible. By opening up conversations about violence in public forums, breaking the mask of the happy family of AMMA and by extension the film industry, researching and creating archives on women in cinema, providing legal support, and building trust so that women could share their experiences, they changed the tenor of the conversation to the rights of women and queer persons in the workplace. The collectivity of voice adds to the credibility of the evidence while simultaneously challenging the nature of the evidence that the law, the public, and powerful men demand. Their testimony is the evidence that is constantly added to through sharing and resharing, a brave act risking reliving traumas while being publicly shamed as traitors trying to tarnish the image of the industry. When asked about accountability, the WCC and the community of women who spoke and supported in allyship emerged as lodestars, showing the way forward in the illusionary cinematic universe of fading stars. While their victories for all to claim, the fatigue of waiting, the lost opportunities, the exhaustion from righteous rage, the enormous creative energy they had to set apart from their creative journeys are theirs alone. In our fieldwork, we were privy to women's experiences in cinema in Kerala, which included the narratives of makeup artists who shared their passion for their craft, women directors who have to negotiate respect in ingenious ways in an industry that is not used to having women at the helm, women technicians negotiating remuneration and safe accommodation, women actors celebrating each other's success in the face of illegal bans, and the complicated allyship of heterosexual women with transsexual women and queer persons, which is still a work in progress. While it is important to call for interventions to ensure the rights of cine workers, to work out practical measures, one must unpack the complexities created by the claims surrounding artistic freedom, the celebration of informal networks, buddy groups, and the highly subjective definitions of suitability, be it in terms of the credentials, savarna or privileged caste beauty standards, body type or identity for a prescribed position. This is important since, unlike other labour markets, the process of recruitment here is laden with ambiguity in terms of the definition of the perfect candidate, skills to be possessed, or credentials to perform a particular role. Therefore, deliberations on the idea of film as an art form, ideally from within the industry, should be nuanced and include boundary setting to ensure that artistic autonomy is not used as an excuse to reinforce existing social inequalities. A journey towards justice and reform. February 17, 2017. A popular woman actor is abducted and sexually assaulted by a group of men inside a moving vehicle in Kochi. She files a complaint on the same day and the police register an FIR. February 19th. The police arrest 3 accused. Palsar Suni, the primary accused, is still at large. February 23rd. Suni, along with another accused, Vijesh, surrenders before the additional Chief Judicial Magistrate. February 26th. Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan says there is no conspiracy in the case. February 27th. Vijayan clarifies that the state government has not concluded that there is no conspiracy in the kidnap case. April 18th. The police filed the first charge sheet in the case, naming Suni and 6 others as accused. May. In a first-of-its-kind initiative in the country, Women in Cinema Collective, WCC, an organization to ensure women a safe, non-discriminatory and professional workspace in cinema, comes into being. June 24th. A letter allegedly written by Suni to actor Dileep surfaces. In the letter, Suni claims he always kept the actor safe until that point. July 10th. The Special Investigation Team, SIT, arrests Dileep. July 11th. Following an emergency executive committee meeting, the Association of Malayalam Movie Artists, AMMA, removes Dileep from its primary membership. The Kerala Film Producers Association and the Film Employees Federation of Kerala, FEFKA, also expel the actor. July. The Kerala government constitutes a 3-member committee in response to the petition submitted by the WCC to the Chief Minister, comprising retired High Court Judge K. Hema, former actor Sharda, and retired IAS officer K.B. Valsalakumari. October 3rd. The Kerala High Court grants bail to Dileep. November 22nd. The SIT names Dileep as the 8th accused in its supplementary charge sheet. Actor Manju Warrior, his ex-wife, is added as one of the key witnesses. December. Speaking at the International Film Festival of Kerala, actor Parvati calls out actor Mammooty's film Kasba for its misogynistic narrative. Following the vitriolic backlash against Parvati from the senior actor's fans on the internet, the WCC files a complaint with the cyber police. December 31st, 2019. The Hema Committee submits its final report to the government. November 23rd, 2020, Special Public Prosecutor A. Sureshan steps down after the High Court dismisses a plea by the victim for a change of court. January 2021, former CBI prosecutor V.N. Anil Kumar posted as Special Public Prosecutor. December 30, Anil Kumar resigns. January 2022, the WCC meets the chairperson of the Women's Commission, P. Sati Devi, and demands the release of the Hema Committee Report. January 10th, the victim, revealing her identity for the first time, puts out a post on Instagram about her struggles in the past 5 years. January. Malayalam director Balachandra Kumar tells the crime branch that Dileep planned to endanger the police officers associated with the investigation, produces an audio clip to support his claim. The crime branch registers a case against Dileep and 5 others on the basis of Balachandra Kumar's statement. March. The Kerala High Court orders Malayalam production houses to form internal complaints committees. March 8th, the crime branch submits a cyber forensic report to the Kerala High Court. States data regarding the criminal conspiracy was deleted from the mobile phones of the accused. July 6, 2024. The State Information Commission, SIC, orders the Culture Department to release the report of the Hema Committee by July 25th. July 24th. Following a writ petition filed by film producer Shajimon Parail challenging the SIC's order, the High Court stays the release of the report for a week. August 13th. The High Court dismisses Parail's petition and directs the government to make the report public with limited redactions. August 19th. The Hema Committee report is made public. August 25th, actor Siddique resigns as General Secretary of AMMA after a woman actor alleged that he sexually assaulted her. August 27th, amid growing allegations of sexual assault and misbehavior raised by women against members of AMMA, the Executive Committee of the association is dissolved. All 17 members of the committee, including its president Mohanlal, submit their resignation. August 29th, the Kerala police register cases against 7 people, including actor-legislator M. Mukesh, following the sexual harassment allegations levelled by a woman actor. September 5th, the Kerala High Court constitutes a special bench consisting of Justice A.K. Jayashankaran Nambiar and Justice C.S. Sudha to hear PIL petitions filed following the publication of the report. September 10th, the special bench directs the government to hand over the entire report to the SIT and file a report as to what action can be taken. September 11th, members of the WCC meet the Chief Minister and request the government to ensure the privacy of those who deposed before the committee. September 12th, the Kerala government submits the complete, unredacted version of the Hema Committee report to the SIT. September 12th, FEFKA confirms being approached by 15 to 20 members of AMMA to explore options of forming a new actors' trade union.
Aparna Ishwaran, Shilpa Satish, and Aarti PM teach at Mahatma Gandhi University, Kottayam, Kerala.
This is Frontline on Air. Major stories on the go.